Welcome to a homeschool edition of School of Prop. My name is Preston Swan, and today we are talking about Proposition 207, also known as the Smart and Safe Arizona Act. If approved, Prop 207 would legalize the recreational purchase and use of marijuana for anyone over 21, allow you to own up to 6 marijuana plants, and allow Arizonans to petition the court for forgiveness on previous marijuana charges. It would also allow for a small number of social equity owners to receive permits for dispensaries. All revenue generated from the new 16% marijuana sales tax would be split mostly between community colleges and public safety. But first, let's start things off by talking about that sweet, sweet green. Money. We're talking money. Money. Prop 207 would create a new additional sales tax of 16% for marijuana purchases. It's additional because it is applied on top of whatever the existing sales tax is in your town. For example, the total sales tax in Tempe is 8.1%, so marijuana purchases in Tempe will have a whopping 24.1% sales tax. All the revenue generated from this new sales tax will pay for 5 groups: community college districts, police and fire departments, Arizona's Highway User Revenue Fund, the Justice Reinvestment Fund, and a little left over for the Arizona Attorney General to enforce it. The Joint Legislative Budget Committee estimates Prop 207 will bring in about $250 million in its first year. That's quite a haul. But does that mean dispensaries are going to be popping up all over town now? In Arizona, the number of approved marijuana dispensaries is capped at about 126. Why 126? Because according to Arizona law, the number of dispensaries is limited to 1/10 the number of drug pharmacies licensed by the state. Now, why 1/10? I don't know. These licenses are very competitive to come by. But if Prop 207 passes, the current medical marijuana dispensaries would have first crack at these new recreational licenses. Prop 207 would also create 20 or so new social equity licenses, which are supposed to favor dispensary owners who have been disproportionately impacted by previous marijuana laws. So that sounds great. But how would that process work? I don't know. In addition to legalizing recreational marijuana, Prop 207 would also allow anyone previously convicted for possessing less than an ounce of marijuana to petition the court to have that conviction expunged from their record. In Arizona, being arrested with any amount of marijuana can result in a Class 6 felony, punishable by up to a year in prison and a fine of up to $150,000. Now, if it's your first offense, you could have that reduced down to a misdemeanor, but no guarantees. Prop 207 isn't offering blanket forgiveness, but it's an opportunity forward for some people arrested over a small, non-violent possession charge. Arizona would join 17 other states in offering some level of past marijuana forgiveness. And that forgiveness could impact a lot of Arizonans. According to the 2018 Crime in Arizona report, over 14,500 people, or roughly 16% of all arrests in Arizona that year, involved marijuana possession. That number includes over 2,000 minors arrested for possession, again, just in 2018. Supporters of Prop 207 say it's high time to stop throwing people in jail for smoking a plant. They say the war on drugs has been inefficient, expensive, harmed minority communities, and led to ballooning prison populations. Prop 207 would allow police to focus on more serious crimes while bringing in much-needed revenue to the state. Opponents of Prop 207 argue that legalizing a drug is immoral, a health hazard, would encourage children to use marijuana, would create an unfair marijuana economy in Arizona, and will lead to more crime. Also, even if Arizona legalizes it, marijuana is still an illegal substance in the eyes of the federal government. Now, to be clear, marijuana is not harmless. I mean, sure, it's not even remotely in the same category as opioids or meth, but it can be addictive. It can impact your memory, and it can harm a teenager's developing brain. So because of this, marijuana is being treated like alcohol, where it's only sold to people over 21, and Arizona would ban marijuana ads or products aimed at children. But what about crime increases? For what it's worth, there's no bulletproof study showing once and for all that marijuana legalization directly leads to crime. I mean, yes, you can find studies that show some increases in some crimes, but you can also find studies that show some decreases in some crimes, and then a lot of statistically unrelated changes in crime. So, could there be more marijuana-related DUIs? Yeah, probably. Could there be a wave of marijuana-related robberies and violent crimes across the state? Probably not. Should Arizona legalize recreational marijuana? That's up to you. From School of Prop, I'm Preston Swan, and this November, it's your vote.